Hi, welcome to Big Homeopathy. I'm your host, Big Homeopath, Sarah Thompson. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with a jolt of remorse, as if I have committed some unspeakable atrocity that is totally irredeemable, and I'm a fraud and a failure, and I should just chisel my self-pity on a tombstone and make a big show of withdrawing from the world, which is ridiculously self-serving, but masquerades as this noble sacrifice. It's self-pity, and it's self-hatred, and it's really foolish. And the reason I'm telling you about it is that I was confronted with this experience really recently after a long period of really being free from it. I had the experience of failure. And I've been looking for it. I want to grow, and you grow through failure, and I put it out there to the universe that I wanted to fail. So I should have been happy. But I'm reminded of a story that I'm fond of, which may be apocryphal, about Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's, which runs that when Dave was down to his last 2 nickels and completely out of options and without a plan, he went for a walk, which I identify with. I am a walker. I walk when I'm sad. I walk when I'm scared. I walk when I'm happy. And walking is precious to me because I know what it's like to not be able to do it. When I was in the hospital, I would walk. If I was on a 24-hour drip, I would wheel my IV stand like some extra in an insane asylum scene from a movie. In the tiny crescent of corridor at the hermetically sealed transplant unit down in Brigham and Women's, I would put on this face shield and nitrile gloves and my Crocs, and I would plod up and down this little hallway until I just couldn't stand it anymore. There were times in recovery when I could barely make it to the end of my driveway, and I remember the feeling of being able to complete a 5-mile loop again. I understand what it's like to try to walk off despair. So Dave went for this walk, and he got to a bridge, and he realized that it was time to act. And he threw that change, those last 2 nickels, off the bridge, and he founded Wendy's. The thing is, when you hear that story, you already know that he founded Wendy's and Wendy's was hugely successful. But at the time that he did that, it's entirely possible that he was about to confront another huge failure. And, I, about 15 years ago, made some big changes in my life. And when I got pregnant and had babies, I was averse to risk. I wanted to keep things safe. And I thought that I could keep the world small enough and safe enough for everything to be okay. And that's okay when your babies are small. But it turns out that the big does not roll that way. And in trying to keep myself small, I ended up getting really, really sick. But the thing about real failure, which I was asking for when I realized I needed to grow, is that it's real, it hurts, it sucks. And it really is, it's tragic because it reveals to you the total limit of where you're at. And that's a painful thing to confront. And, we all know that it takes 10,000 hours to achieve mastery, but it's not 10,000 of the same hour. That is just keeping your world small, and that's kind of pathetic. So this failure that I experienced is I had asked someone that I admire and respect to critique some of my work. And I prepared and I studied and I was all ready to go. And so all I had to do was get through this minor hurdle of sharing this with her, and then I could just pop the corks and celebrate. So that was going to be fabulous. And then that's not at all what happened. I I got the critique that I was looking for. And the reason that I respect and admire this person is that she doesn't pull punches, and she didn't. And I was crushed. And it wasn't the inadequacy of my work that was so upsetting to me. It was that I cared so much about the critique that it felt like such a failure to me to take it personally. I really thought that I was over that, and to discover that I'm still enslaved to these old patterns of what Alfie Kohn calls the punishment of rewards. After lots of years of schooling and being a good student and a competent and capable person, I've really gotten sucked into that, and I thought I was free of it. And now that I'm responsible for raising children so that they can be in the world on their terms and not have that experience, it was a good lesson in humility to have to confront that in myself. And it made me realize that I need your help. I need to change things up around here. I need to put my failures out there and bring them forward so that I can really grow. I talked a couple of weeks ago about homeopathy and how it's so much more than a promising study about whether Russ Tox can be as effective as Aleve in relieving some temporary symptoms of arthritis. It's so much bigger than that. And so I'm splitting things up, and I'm going to alternate between these deep personal posts where I get into what is transformative about homeopathy. How do people go from where they were to where they get? How did I through homeopathy, and what that means? And then also still taking time to review studies and resources, because it's useful to have that information, and it's important to reiterate it and to get it out there into the world. But it was safe for me to stay in that box and just try to talk to other students and colleagues. And if I were just doing this for myself, I could stay in that box. I could just study and no one would ever criticize me. But I do this for my clients. And when only 4% of the country is even using homeopathy, and the percentage of those people that's using it deeply and transformatively is even smaller, there's work to be done, and that work starts with me. And it's scary to go out there and be vulnerable, but it's also big. It's big homeopathy, and it's going to be huge. See you next week.